Okay, it's great to be back. Nice audience, great. So let's start off with a question. What's the best way for you guys to hit your goal? And I like a very interactive audience, a lot of participation. Know where your goal is. That's a great answer. Perfect. Thank you so much. Here's a how to win friends. Thank you. So definitely. Know where your goal is. In other words, the best way to hit your goal is to have one. The best way for your dream, the best way for your vision, have one. So you have an index card. So what I'd like you to do is write down, right now, the bullseye of your 5-year vision, your 5-year goal. What's the most important things? So you only get like 60 seconds to write this down. So grab your index card. If you don't have one, raise your hand. We'll get one to you. There's some on the edges on the right here. Here's a bunch. Here, take some more if anybody doesn't have it. Okay, there's some on the chairs. The best way to hit your goal is have one. Make sure it's clear. To think is to create. What you think about, you will bring about. Write down where you are. It's February 1st, let's say 2022. Write down your dream, your vision, your goal. I want to hear the bullseye. And part 2, I want you to turn over the card, and I call this aim. I want you to tell me what you're doing or what you've done to get to your goal right now. What are you doing or what have you done over the last 90 days or 6 months or whatever to make that goal happen, to hit that bullseye? In other words, if you got a bullseye and you got to aim, I want to know what you're doing to aim and get that goal to happen. Okay, so having your goal is so important, and writing it down commits you to that goal. What I'd like you to do is, if you're sitting next to somebody be partner A, somebody be partner B, it's not scientific. I want you to share your goal in about 30 seconds, and then say what you're doing to make that happen, and then we'll flip-flop that. So just find somebody next to you and share your goal. Okay, awesome. And now switch to partner B, and partner B, tell partner A what your goal is. If you've done it, just elaborate some more. Okay, guys, that's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. It's really important to have an inventory of your goal. What you think about, you bring about. And this is dynamic, so you're going to keep these cards and change it. As you grow and as you keep adding things, having a goal, put it on your board. And what you're doing about it's important. Who would like to share what their goal is? Anybody like to share? Perfect. I plan on having a BMW i8 in 3 years. And what are you doing about it? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share what their thing is? Just go ahead. Yeah. Good. Perfect.
I want to be a famous musician in 3 years. So, I've been
Great. Famous musician. And what are you doing about it?
I make, music, and I write lyrics on, Ableton. I make, music and stuff like that. And, my friend is, a producer. So, I've been, trying to make music.
Perfect.
So,
awesome.
yeah.
That was very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with the room. Let's get a couple more.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
How are you?
Excellent.
Cool. My goal is to attend law school. I'm not. I know him.
To attend law school?
Law school, yes.
Awesome. And what are you doing about it?
What am I doing? I'm getting my undergraduate degree. Good grades. I have a strong GPA. I'm in Enactus. I am the executive vice president of the Student Association. And, thank you. And yeah, just getting familiar, getting a good foundation of law, and enjoying my time at La Sierra.
Awesome. That was a great answer. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's do one more. Somebody else want to share? Anybody else want to share their goal? Okay, well, we'll continue. Well, what we were doing when we said AIM for the bullseye, AIM is an acronym. You want to put your attention on your intention and put it in motion. Put your attention on your intention and put it in motion. So the best way to hit your goal, have one. Write it down. See the bullseye clear as you can. And then you want to aim for it. Put your attention on your intention in motion. You don't want to have IDD. You guys know what ADD is? IDD is intention deficit disorder. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm here. You want to be perfectly going that way. So thank you guys very much for doing that. That was great. So as an entrepreneur, we're in business school here. What's a cyclical change? Somebody willing to share what a cyclical change is? You guys have heard of cyclical change? Cyclical changes are changes that are going to happen to an economy, a market, or a business. They're usually not absolutely permanent. They go up, they go down. And the idea of some cyclical changes that may affect you or your business? Okay, expansion, recession. Thank you. Things going up and down. Are we an expanding economy or economy that's contracting? How about interest rates? Could that be important? How about taxes? If you're starting a business, you've got payroll taxes. If you're buying and selling things, you may have federal income tax, California Franchise Board. Could that be important? How about energy? The price of gas, the price of electricity, the price to move things, ship goods. How about exchange? Now, when I say exchange, as an entrepreneur, I'm not talking about how many Hong Kong dollars for one US dollar or how many euros. I'm talking about you have to invent ratios and study ratios. Which ones? If you're buying real estate, price of new construction versus the sale price. That might be an important ratio. Interest rates going up, how much does that affect buyers? How about the price of a building versus the rental income? These are all things that go up and down. You need to be aware of that and ask if you don't have it or invent. One of my favorite slogans is, how often do I not ask the question that if I had, it would change my life? So there's lots of exchange ratios, things you need to do. I'm buying this and I'm selling it here. How much does this cost? Does that include freight? Does that include labor? How much am I selling it for? Are there any taxes I have to pay? Is there anything like that? So cyclical change is going on everywhere. As an entrepreneur, this is something you have to be well aware of. Seasons. It may not be the best time to open up a bike shop right now at Mammoth with 25 feet of snow this month. Seasons could matter. Other cyclical changes are all over the place. So comparing these ratios and learning your business is really, really, really important. Your job is to master some of these things, ask the questions, and make a prediction of where things are going based on the data. As the data comes in, rates are going up, affordability index right here, price of construction, whatever it is, price of goods, what's going on with freight, what's going on with whatever it is that you're doing, manufacturing costs, labor, minimum wage, extra wage. Your job is to know these things. So you need a degree in cyclical change to make a prediction. What's a structural change? Anybody willing to share? What's a structural change? Structural changes are much, much more permanent, not always permanent. And they can affect an economy, a market. Do you think the invention of the automobile completely changed how we do business here in America? Was that a structural change? Compared to steam engine, train, or horse? How about the invention of the truck for delivery? The internet, absolutely. And we're going to come to that one in just a moment. Aviation, being able to fly or fly goods around. So there are many structural changes. It's dynamic and it's happening. The printing press, was that a major structural change for education, for reading, for knowledge? What's the number one structural change going on in your world as an entrepreneur right now? Technology? Internet? So let's do the math. Great answers. Thank you. Last night, the number one transportation company, i.e., taxi company, in America and probably all over the world was called, come on guys, Uber. Who said that first there? Oh, good. Here's another book. Great. Here's Power of Habit. Let's get in the habit of, thank you. Uber. How many cabs does Uber have? Somebody give me a guess. How many taxis does Uber have? Zero. How much did they pay in gas last night? How many radiators did they change? How many flat tires did they have? Last night, the number one hospitality company in America, Airbnb. How many hotels did they have? How many front desk employees did they pay? How many sheets did they pay and put in the laundry? It's interesting. Last night, the number one retailer in the world was called Amazon or Alibaba. For those that study in China, Alibaba is pretty big too. They bought Netflix and Uber and PayPal of China, so they're pretty big. How many retail stores do they have? None. They have a few now at bookstores, but that's interesting. Last night, the number one media company in the world that presented the most media was called Facebook. How much media did they produce? Zero. So wait a minute, you guys are telling me, wait a minute, the number one transportation company has no cars, no vehicles, no cabs. The number one hospitality company has no rooms. The number one retailer has no retail stores. And the number one media producer, and I read a lot of newspapers online, produced no media. Is that basically what the math is? What's the LCD of those examples? You guys remember 8th grade algebra? What's LCD? Least common denominator. What's the LCD of what we just talked about? They all have a master's degree in, ready for your word of the day? Leverage. Leverage is the tool. If you're an entrepreneur today, you need a master's degree in leverage. Uber's leveraging every driver with everybody needs a ride. Airbnb is leveraging people with rooms with people that need a room. Amazon's taking every seller, big or small, with everybody needs something in a marketplace. They have master's degree in leverage. You need to have a master's degree, this is a metaphor, in leverage. This is a critical skill. So let's talk about that. What am I going to leverage? How am I going to leverage? First of all, what is a lever? What is a lever? It's a tool that gives you great advantage. A lever is a tool that gives you great advantage. You can jack up my Ford Raptor with a tool called a jack, right? So a jack is a great lever. Does that give you great advantage? How fun would it be to open up a can of tuna fish without one of these things? What if I gave you a hammer? How much fun would that be? So a can opener is another tool. A tool that gives you great advantage is called a lever. And leverage is what you need to do. You need to learn about every tool that can give you individually as an entrepreneur and collectively as a team great leverage. This is really, really one of those most important things that we can do, is learn how to leverage. So we're going to talk about that in just a few moments. Sometimes having a lever is not enough. It's how you use it, how you hold it. For example, if we had a hammer and a big nail to put in the wall and you held the hammer at the top, how much fun would that be? And as you move your hand down, you pick up more leverage. So learning how to use leverage is important. That's just, again, just a metaphor. And sometimes you can have the answer. For example, you can have a lock and you can have the combination. It's not enough. It's not enough. You've got to dial the combination. And that's not enough. You then have to click it. You then have to click it. So we've got to be in motion all the time. Just like we were in motion on our aim, putting your attention on your intention and putting it in motion. This is a core thing on it. Have a goal, write it down, be crystal clear. And your goal, what you wrote down on your bullseye, let me just say, that is your business plan. That's your goal. That's your dream. That's your vision. Whatever it is. So spend some time doing that. Let's just say some sporting event was on the television. How would you know what's going on? What would you look at? The score. Good. That's why I pasted it up front. Let's see what we can do on this one. This is going to be tipping point. Thank you. Who said the score? Okay. I'm just going to toss it to you. Hand off. Okay. What would you look at if you looked at the scoreboard? What information's on there? What's that? Yeah, who's winning? Other things. How much, what is left? How much what? Would that be important? Oh. Well, you guys have a scorecard too. It's called your life. It's called your business. It's called your entrepreneurship. You have a scorecard. So on that scorecard, sometimes we have something on the left column called an asset. What's an asset? Something can make money, something that you own. Generally, for today, the definition of an asset is something of value. Is an asset. What are some of the assets? What are some of the assets in your life? Computer. What was it? Money, cash. Great answer, cash. What is it? Your mind. Some of the other ones. Come on, we're entrepreneur, guys. This is a business school. What are the things you're going to post? And let me do the first slide so we can do this. Let's see if I can get this technology to work. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Accounting. Now, usually when I mention accounting, what goes through your mind? Balance sheet numbers, boring. Who wants to talk about accounting? But it's important. It's a skill that's really important to have. So what we have is the assets are on the left, and assets equal liabilities plus equity. Do you see that on a scale? Can you guys see it on those monitors back there? That's called being in balance. Got that? So what are some of the assets that you're going to put on that balance sheet? We talked about cash, A computer? Education? Okay. You're going to have a business. How about inventory? Would that go on there? Would that be a good thing to have on there? And inventory comes in 2 classes. What classes do they come in? Equipment, furniture and fixtures and equipment, FFE. Right? Buildings, you got real estate. Absolutely. Real estate goes on the asset side. Buildings and investments. Come on, we're business students here. We need to know, you guys need to know the inventory at all times of what is your goal, what is your dream and vision, what assets you have to work with, and you're in the business of collecting assets. And assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity. Any other assets that might go on there? Stocks? 401k? How about IP? What does IP stand for? Intellectual property. We're all here. Somebody mentioned technology. Is there value to that? If you come up with something, have a patent or a game, if your name is something with Google or Apple, is that an important thing? Right. What's a liability? Something you owe. Anything you owe to another is a liability. What are some of the liabilities that's on your balance sheet, or could be, in the future? If they're not there, they may be there later. Give me some examples of liabilities. A loan. What kind of loan? School loan. How about mortgage? How about if you buy a vehicle? How about if you credit card? How about taxes? So these are some of the things that really go on your liability side. And you need to have inventory of what your liabilities are, compare ratios when we talked about exchange. So this is all tied together. The exchange are the ratios between how many assets do I have, what are my liabilities, how much more can I take on, and sometimes liabilities can be, better. For example, we talked about interest rates are probably going to go up. Probably, we don't know. 25 basis points, 2 or 3 or 4 times next year. Is that good or bad? It depends. If they're going up because the economy's in hyperinflation, then it's not as good. If it's doing it because the economy is growing, new jobs are being created, wages are going up, things are happening, and there's a control of money, it's probably a good thing. Again, things you need to take and really, really understand. So that leaves the last one, equity. What is equity? Equity is the difference between your assets and what you own under your liabilities. Because your assets are going to equal your liabilities and your equity. And your job is to minimize the liabilities and build the equity. That's called building wealth. And this is taken out of one of the games, another game that I do. We won't do it tonight. It's called the lemonade game. We're going to play like we're 6 years old. So one of the first rules of getting wealth is spend less than you earn. Boy, how novel is that? Spend less than you earn. And save it. Get it into the assets. Get it into the equity. So I took a page out of the lemonade game. This is one of the things that we do in the game. Again, we play like we're 6 years old. And so when we need to borrow money, we go to Mom and we say, Mom, I'd like to borrow $5 to start a lemonade business. And all of a sudden, what did we create? A liability, a short note. It's going to get posted on our game. And we also created more cash so we can operate. So let me just take you to another page in the lemonade game. Right now, what's the purpose of a balance sheet? This is really important. What's the purpose of a balance sheet? To balance. That's it. Does it have to make sense? Doesn't to me. It's accounting, okay? Yeah, doesn't have to make sense, but it has to balance. And so I have a little example over there. For example, how much does it say in cash? Right, it's got like $10 there, right? How much does it have as accounts receivable? Okay, you guys see that? And it has $2 in that, in house, $20 in a car, $3, for total assets of $40. And then we have something on the other side. We have liabilities. Can you guys see the liabilities there? $10 for loans payable, $5 in taxes, credit card debt's $5, and that's $20, and $20 in equity for $40. Are we in balance? So you guys need to do this with your own life and your own business. This is something you have to know. Assets equal, come on, together. Assets equal what? Yeah, and they have to be in. Okay, so let's just stand up for a second. Put down your notes and your thing for a second. And I want you to just feel what it's like to be in balance. Stretch it out. Good. And just say, I am in balance. In balance. And then end up in balance. Great. Because if you got $50 in liabilities and no cash, that's not going to be good. Okay? Good. I just wanted to break you guys because accounting's boring. So that was a good way to just pretty much. Okay, so let's get to the real meat and potatoes here. We talked about Uber and the LCD. What was the LCD of Uber and Airbnb? Leverage. And we talked about being in balance. So now I want to really take it up to the next level. Are you in balance? And I'm not talking about your money at the moment. I'm going to talk about this. Right there. Let's go back to leverage. Can you guys see that? Read that. See it on the side here. What's your number one asset? Time. It's not your cash, it's your time. 86,400 seconds. How you use it. What does it say right there? My time matters. By far the greatest impact on my results. Alone and together, developing my beingness, my genius, my thinking, and my goals. That's your number one asset. You and your time. And you need to leverage it. You need to leverage your time. My moniker for me, my internal voice says, and I know time's my number one asset, and I have less time than you guys. But here's my moniker. Money works for me because I don't have the time to work for money. My time's too valuable. If I'm not leveraging my time and I'm working for money, wrong theory. So what's your number one asset? Your louder? Time. Thank you. What's another asset? I am. It's how you see you. It's not a matter how much you got up there, it's how you see it. So what's the number one? I am a leader. Louder. Well, who are you leading? Me. Yourself. Make good choices. Leverage your leadership of you. This is what you've got to leverage. Other ones, these are mine. You make your own list. You have your own balance sheet. These are mine, and you can get a copy of this. I got a PDF. We can download it and get an email. But for me, I am a leader. I am capable. I am healthy. I am giving. I am positive. I am caring, powerful, successful, authentic, and wealthy. You guys are wealthy too. The money may not have shown up yet, but you're wealthy. Make sure you have an inventory of your IMs, whatever they are. This is your balance sheet. This has nothing to do with me. What's your next asset? Core values. Do you come from honesty, integrity, truthfulness? What goes around, what's the old thing? Yeah, times 10. Being of service, thoughtful. Relationships. This is a biggie. This is a real biggie, only because my eyes can't see that so good. What's your number one relationship with? With me, myself. If that's not good, every other relationship is. How about your signature? As an entrepreneur, you can get into great deals and you can get into a lot of trouble. Your signature is a major asset. Know it, respect it, Treat that hand with respect and that pen. What's your next one? Your word. Be there in 10 minutes. I'm late. No, not my fault. It was traffic. You got a relationship with your word. So we can go through all of these, but there are a few of them, just because in the essence of time, I don't want to miss out. But one of my favorite ones that we need to really super leverage to be a superpreneur. Well, look at vision. Best way to achieve my goal, have one. Write it down, document it, crystal clear, see it, say it, desire it, and build it. You're a builder. Everyone in this room is a builder. Your job is to build your vision, build your dream. Take that document, that card, that's just a starting point. Make that clear. Have an inventory of your goal and your vision. Write it down. Think about it and make it your number one priority. You count. And your I ams matter. If you're a leader, that's what you're going to do. If you're a follower, it's like, yeah, I heard it. I'm busy. My goal. You've got to believe in yourself. One of my favorite ones that's on here is basically going to come up as your knowledge. You're doing that now. Your mastery of education. That's an asset. If you know coding and you go to show up for a job, flaunt it. If you know something about a market, show it. Make a noise. There's no time for silence. You got this intention, aim, attention. On intention and motion defines your future. How much attention you put on your intention. And you got to get mad. Get really mad, not angry. Mad. Make a deal. Who are you making a deal with? Your word. You. Your thought. Your dream. Your vision. You're an entrepreneur. You're a deal maker. That's a definition. You make deals. You're not a follower. You're not an employee. You're not qualified to be an employee. You're an entrepreneur. Who are you making a deal with? You. Your word. This is really important. Really understand you got to get mad. Make a deal. Theory, first 15%. If you don't have that right, you're heading in the wrong direction. Ask the questions. How often do I not ask the questions that if I had, it would change my life? Get the right theory. Ask somebody that's been there. The next one after theory is diversity. Get your friends. If they disagree, welcome that. Diversity is an asset. My favorite asset, well, the next one is leverage. Get your MIL degree. This is really where the rubber meets the road. How are you going to play this thing called your life, your entrepreneur, your business? How in tune? And then we've got things like network. Hello? If you're going to leverage anything, it's leverage your network. Leverage the heck out of your network. Leverage the heck out of weak ties. Does everybody know what a weak tie is? A weak tie is somebody that connects you to another network. It's not about them, it's just getting you into another one. So many examples. Somebody called me up from one of those copy machine places. They said, there's a flyer here. There's a property you might want to acquire. You should call this number. For the real estate agent. I did. I got the property. It was a great deal. That person was a weak tie. I followed up. There's so many weak ties. Enact this. Why I'm here. One connection led to another connection, led to another connection. Next thing you know, I'm a judge, a lead coordinator from one simple connection, like, you should hear about this organization. That's the weak tie. A weak tie is strong. It doesn't make a person weak. It's the one that can hand you off to the next network. You need to leverage your network. We talked about how and what am I going to leverage. Stay in contact, follow up. That doesn't mean be on Facebook 15 times a day. It just means you have a network, use it. Right here in this room, an Enactus team member said they might want to do a honeybee honey thing. I just happen to know somebody in Enactus that is one of the largest suppliers of honey to a big retailer. Can I help? Yeah, let me connect you. What are you, trying to invent the wheel? How about I connect you with the president of the largest honey producer in the country? Would that help you enact this project and get you started? So who's the weak tie? I'm just going to connect the team with the honey producer. I'm the weak tie. You're welcome. Okay, then you got success cards. You got these cards in the back pocket of you. I see, I commit, I plan. How about mistakes? Is that a good asset? Yeah. You know how many people make a mistake? Like, nah, I screwed that up. I've done it twice. I'm not going to do that again. I don't want to be bothered. Mistake is your tuition for greater success. Mistake is a great asset. Asking, listen, elastic. Give yourself permission to wander widely. Do not just stick a hole that's 4 inches round and try to go a mile deep. Wander widely. Give yourself permission to go way out on the limb and do things. Asset. Be audacious. Surrender. You're in a situation and no. That's not doing anything. I surrender. Now sometimes, like I grew up in New York, surrender is not like I would never do that. Like they're going to call me names. If it's not furthering your purpose, let it go. If it don't help you grow, let it go. Again, if it don't help you grow, let it go. Let's look at some of the liabilities. Well, if your time is your number one asset, your number one liability is mass distraction. How many people here touch their iPhone more than 50 times a day? How about 75? How about 100? Right. Weapons of mass distraction, number one liability. How are you going to get anything done screwing around with answering those texts and those emails? Some things are important. You got to do business. I got it. But you need to be focused on your attention, needs to be on your intention, in motion, in the direction of your goal. Your goal counts. You count. You need to have inventory of your I ams. Interruptions, addictions, playing games, being numb. Nah, I just don't want to deal with that stuff today. These are all liabilities. Look at the other ones. Habits, old, reliable. How many people play ready, fire, aim? Is that the right sequence? You need to plan things out sometimes. Sometimes not, sometimes yes. Bias, confirmation bias. This is a biggie. Bias confirmed. Confirmation bias. I will seek out everything that proves I'm right, and if you say I'm wrong, I will summarily dismiss anything that you say is against what I'm doing. That's a bias. That's not diversity, it's a confirmation bias. I'm right, and what you're saying doesn't agree with me. I don't want to hear another word. Not another word. That is a huge liability. Having confirmation bias is huge. It will lead to all kinds of things. Here, dismiss the truth. You seek evidence to operate from blame. Not my fault. It was traffic. Not my fault. So-and-so didn't show up. So-and-so. That's operating from blame. Liability. That's not owning. That's not responsibility. Responsibility is an asset. Blame is the liability. How about righteous resentment and revenge? That good for your business plan? But a lot of people play from that. Blaming others all the time. Another one, fear of success, fear of failure. There's all kinds of fears. Now, it's okay to be fearful and to go into something with trepidation. And sometimes there are rocky paths. So fear by itself is not a liability. But fear of success and turning something down is. That would be a terrible liability. Being wrong. I'm not going to say anything. What if I make a mistake? What if I did something wrong? Speak up. Being wrong, it's okay. Oh, I learned something. I got more tuition. When I'm wrong, I pay tuition, metaphorically. Contaminants. How many people have contaminants? And I'm not talking about the kind that we read about in a paper. We're talking about naysayers. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. You don't have enough money. We never had any money. You're no good. Get the naysayers out. Petri dish effect. You are going to become what the 5 closest people are. Just like when you put some bacteria in a petri dish and the whole thing goes whomp. It's real. Jump networks. Find yourself a weak tie. Jump into another network because your number one asset is your time, your I ams, and go back to your creativity. Go back to your success cards. Theory. Now, there's many more. We won't have time. Plain win, lose. How does this show up? We negotiate, blah, 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 blah. I come away with what I want. What happened to the other guy? He wins also. That's an asset. If he plays like he lost, that's not good. Being selfish. Irrelevancies. Ignorance. Scarcity model, not abundance. Aimless. These are not the spaces to be in. Write it down. Create a group. Build your business plan, which is that note card for now. Failure cards. Not responding. Inattentive. Quitting. Careless. Not asking. Not testing. Test it out on a small scale. See if your theory works. Go back, make mistakes. Look for diversity. So that, to me, is I am in balance when my assets are doing this and my equities are coming up, and I'm not operating from righteousness. I'm not operating from being out of focus. I have a plan, and I'm going to work my plan. So I know my time's pretty much up. I could go on and on and on, but I hope that some of the theory that I gave upon you today, and I've got a couple of questions if anybody wants as we finish up. If not, I'll take them outside. Thank you.